Okay, we're going to do lesson 3 lecture class. In the past, in lesson 1, we have studied nominal plus copular, which is this, and also adjectival sentence, adjectival this. And then in this lesson, verbal sentence. Now, what's the significant difference is nominal particle, nominal this. That is lesson 1, core structure. And then second one is nominal particle, which is subject, and adjectival this. And here is a verbal is always ending is a distal style is mas, masen, mashita, masen deshita. So they are very easy to identify. Now, en, ga, en, this. This is the core structure. Core structure. And en, ga, adjectival this. This is the lesson 2. Lesson 4, we have studied X ga intransitive verb such as neru, nemasu, and okimasu. And also en ga en o shimasu, tabemasu, nomimasu, etc. And then we have en ga p, ni, or e, ikimasu, kimasu, kaerimasu. Okay. Basically those are 3 types that we have to face in lesson 3. Now, why I put n? Because it's a nominal. You can have nominal. This one is actually nominal too, nominal, and this is limited to place-related nominal. So that's how you really identify those 3 verbs. That's something you have to know. Then you can have, especially these 3 types of verbs. In English, it's called prepositional phrase. So this en ga nemasu. So let's say I'm gonna go to bed, but when are you gonna go to bed? Or let's do this. So I'm gonna eat. So I'm gonna eat sushi. That's a core structure, right? I'm gonna eat sushi. I'm gonna eat sushi. But when you want to know when you want to do, when are you going to eat, or where are you going to eat, how often do you eat, and those things are, it's called prepositional phrase in English. In English, it says prepositional phrase, so you cannot delete preposition. If you delete preposition, then makes it ambiguous sentence, unclear. That noun's function becomes unclear. So you have, let's say, place-related, nominal, if you de, and if you have a verb. By the way, these are all action-involved verb. Action-involved verb. So action verb. There is an action verb and a stative verb in the future, but we are not concerned about. So here's an action related verb. So you have place de, or time ni, or in the future by means of de, but that's in lesson, I believe 5, so 4 or 5. But anyway, so those are prepositional phrase. Now, or frequency related nominal are usually 5. Now, this is basic what is going on in real life. In real life, So I might ask you, okay, Kyuna sensei, what are you going to do this weekend? Kyuna sensei says, I'm going to eat sushi. Where are you going to eat sushi, or where are you going to go to? And is that restaurant expensive or delicious? That's how you really, in real life, carry conversations. That's what we will do. Kyuna sensei and I will do the drill class. So make sure that we cover whatever we studied in lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, and with the skill. That's how you really learn it. Because we will do so many times. For instance, lately we studied in lesson 3, 2, I believe, demo, right? So, これは美味しいです。でも、あれは美味しくないです。So that logic is we do so many times, therefore it becomes like yours. That's what we need to do. In lesson 3, there are lots of things you have to deal with, especially particles, you have to deal with it. Now specifically, what you really have to be careful is, those are basic core structures. Core structure is definitely primary particles. It's called the primary particles. Ga indicates subject, or indicates direct object. This one is optional, but this one is really destination or final goal. Those are primary particles. Now let's repeat. Primary particle, we learned there are two things you have to know. One is, in front of primary particle, of course you have to have noun, but in front of the particle, that noun, that information is new. Something that you want to tell somebody, or you want to hear, because unknown. Now also, primary particles is, if you have a ga, then preceding noun is subject. Those things you have to know. And in this lesson we have a bunch of primary particles. Ga, not only ga, o, ni, and de, and ni, and fi, and de, is later on. But anyway, so primary particle, just to remember that, whichever segment particle, right, this becomes primary particle. If you have ni, if you have de, if you have fi, these are new information, and depends on what kind of particle comes, you find out the roles. So, this is what you do. Now, in addition to that, in this lesson, we will have secondary particle. Secondary particle. There are wa and mo and dake, shika, plus negative. When can you use wa or mo, dake, shika, or negative? It is always with context, always with flow. Now, we can tell you theoretically wa is at least, mo is including, dake is just, shika is lower than higher expectation. So we can tell you, but Kyuna sensei and I will do drill. When do you have to use them? That is the teacher's role. And once you get that, how you can use secondary particle, then it becomes yours. The more we practice drill, if we say group 1, which means that primary particle, let's say ga and o, there are primary particles. Ga, o, when we use wa or mo, dake, shika, negative. Now, what's happening is that when you add wa, as soon as you add wa, you have to delete this. And o is the same thing. As soon as you add secondary particle, o has to be deleted. That's what's happening in group 1. In other words, delete. What it is primary particle you used, and you have secondary particle, then you have to delete this. So That's why 先生が来ました、先生は来ました、先生も来ました、寿司を食べます、寿司も食べます、寿司しか食べません。That's what you delete the primary particle. Now we have group 2. Of course, group 2 is に or え with 行きます、来ます、帰ります。Those verbs, those are moving verbs. In order to accomplish this action, subject person has to move one to another. So that's ni and e. And group 3, that's elsewhere. In other words, let's say 食べる、食べます。食べます。So once you find out, let's say 食べます。何を食べますか? Here, right? 何を食べますか? And once you find out who eats what, then what is interesting to you to know for the next few several segments. For instance, you want to know どこで食べますか? or いつ食べますか? or 何時に食べますか? or 誰と食べますか? Right? So now, those are, let's say, segment by segment, we claim that WH question words are just like we treat it now. So, どこ、いつ、何時、誰 is now. So, you can say どこで. So, this is the place. So, this is the verb. This is the place where action occurs. Yes. どこで食べますか? いつ食べますか? 5. 何時に食べますか? 誰と食べますか? And so forth. And we haven't studied everything yet. So you could say, レストランで食べます。明日食べます。1時に食べます。友達と食べます。Stuff like this. Right? And then, since these are in group 3, when you use secondary particle, for instance, レストランで食べます。So again, this is primary particle, therefore this has to be brand new information. Okay? But if you say レストラン as well, then you have to say でも食べます。So here, they has to keep it. In other words, group 3, you must keep primary particle when you add secondary particle. This one is, if you have a primary particle and you add secondary particle, you must delete. This one is either way, delete or keep. What it means is, right? どこに行きますか? 東京に行きます。東京に行きます。Let's say, 大阪にも行きますか? So answer is, はい、大阪にも行きます。or, いえ、大阪には行きません。行きません。So, what's happening is, and also 大阪は行きません. You could do that because keep the primary particle or delete primary particle. So you keep, and you delete. And 3 ways you could do. So this is how it works. Now, also what we have to know, it's in the grammar notes, it says you have 2 kinds of wa. In real life, this might not happen. This might not either. Well, maybe. But anyway, this is wa, let's say, 食べません. So question is, 何を食べますか? 寿司を食べます. Oh, 天ぷらは? And then you answer, 天ぷらは食べません. What's going on here is, 天ぷらは食べません is, 私は it's already known information, and then it's a topic. Therefore, most likely this deletes. So, 私は天ぷらは食べません. So in here is 私は, that's number one, は number two, and then verb. So this is number one, number two. Now, if it's number one, most likely, like I said, it's deleted. But number two must remain, because this is, number two is a comparison. So, for instance, 寿司は食べます。でも、天ぷらは食べません。That's a very honest, every single information is there. But as a native Japanese speaker, if somebody says, 天ぷらも食べますか? いいえ、天ぷらは食べません. That means native speaker, intuitively, they will know something else they eat, but not tempura. So it's the same thing, comparison here. Wa, demo, wa. Now, since 寿司は食べますけど、天ぷらは食べません. We put two items. 寿司も食べます。寿司は食べます。天ぷらも食べますか? Two items. And if you say, いいえ、天ぷらは食べません. Which means, 私は is understood. 私は天ぷらは食べません. So this is the second wa. This is a comparison. So in other words, you could answer, 天ぷらも食べますか? いいえ、天ぷらは食べません. That's okay too. And also, 天ぷらも食べますか? 寿司は食べます。でも天ぷらは食べません. That's okay too. Or, 寿司も天ぷらも食べますか? いいえ、寿司しか食べません. You could do that too. So it is really somewhat it's related to wa comparison and shika. Both you should know. So these are the group 1, group 2, group 3, how it works as a secondary particle, and also wa has two wa. One is topic, one is the secondary particle. So we will do drill during a drill class. We will use those. I guess initially you will have a hard time to really understand or to use it really smoothly, but since we're going to use lots of cases with different segments, and you should be okay. Now, if you do have a question, then raise your hand and I will explain to you again. Okay? So this is lesson 3 lecture class.